to show off. This is a nice little cancer tribute watch that I did for a new buddy named Brian. So Brian, I appreciate you a ton. So this is your build in a nutshell. So nice clean build overall. Did a brushed case and a brushed bezel on it. Nice stainless steel crown on there. And stainless steel engraved exhibition, or not an exhibition, flat caseback. Also, you've got your brushed pre-V buckle on here. So, in a nutshell, nice clean build overall on leather. So, beyond that, for some specifics, we did a silver handset in there. This dial was a little bit of a bear to do. This was was tried to do the first time and wasn't quite done right. We had a little bit of issues with how we were doing our pips, but in order to get the colorways and the leveling to do cerakote, he had to use a thicker dial, which I didn't learn that until I went to build the watch last night. So had to take down part of the movement, some of the stuff that you don't quite need that's just there. Had to build down just a little bit so that I had room and clearance for the pinion on that. So the dial is actually about twice as thick as my normal dials. So backside loomed on that. So it's not pips on top, it's done on the backside. So there's a color wheel back behind it. And then we did a pink and purple stitched, and in this light you might not be able to quite tell that that's a nice light pink color, but kind of a distressed leather, painted edges on this, and then we did the same logo there, branded on both sides. So with this leather that's a bit thicker, it will rub on your case up here. So what I end up doing is I just work these back and forth until like it rubs off what it's going to rub off, because it's meeting right up against that. I just go work it back and forth, and then I use this included leather cleaner and I just kind of put it on there, and over time it just essentially blends itself into it, with that distressed kind of look. But we just work it back and forth, and that right there is like where it's catching through that hole right there, where that's not etched out. So I just work it back and forth and then put that on there. But that is the build as a whole. So with these builds, the bezels will turn left and right. For you, it won't quite matter because there's no markings or anything like that on the bezels. Just a nice clean to make sure that the dial pops on it a little bit better than having like a conflicting color at the top. Automatic mechanical. Also in here, you've got a stainless steel movement holder. It's an upgrade from the plastic one. One of my engraved rotors is inside there. You just can't see it. And then obviously we have your crown engraved as well, and your caseback engraved on here. But automatic mechanical, so you can wind it, you can wear it, you can put it in a watch winder. But if it's dead or you're not going to be very active, make sure you wind it just a little bit before you put it on so you don't lose any time. And how you do that is you back the crown off the threads until you hear and feel it clicking. At that point, you can wind, and a wind is a turn away from you. Turning it back towards you doesn't do anything, but it's a lot easier to keep your finger distancing, just going back and forth. You can't overwind it. You can wind it all day, but if you only do this for 4 or 5 seconds before you put it on, that mixed with the rotor movement should be just fine. If you do it for something closer to 20 seconds, you're going to max out your 31 plus hour power reserve on it. As I referenced, you cannot overwind it, so you can wind it all day if you like. But whenever you feel comfortable with winding it, pull it to the one and only click. At that point, you can then set your time. You'll notice you've got a wobble crown that deflects lateral pressure from going into the stem into the movement. There's a little ball joint there just deflecting that. So if you pull it back tight, you won't really even feel that. But if you are pushing and prying on it a little bit, it's going to deflect that from putting a bend in that, putting adverse pressure on your movement. Okay, Google, what time is it?
12:31 p.m.
12:31 p.m. Put it where you want it. Put it back over to take it out of the time setting. and then wind it down. You can go from winding it to setting the time, but you cannot go from setting the time back to winding it. You'll have to disengage the clutch by screwing it back down, because once you pull it out and engage that clutch, it is locked in there. So when you tap it back over to wind it back down, it's out of the setting for your time, but it's not back into the wind setting. You've got to screw it back down in there. So I'm going to add some leather conditioner on this and just continue to work this in for you a little bit. But it's a brush case, so if you ever nick it or anything like that, just use Scotch-Brite, the grain side, and just brush it in. Just go one direction and brush it in. As with every build, they come with matching beads, entirely up to you whether you wear them or not, but just a nice little accessory to go with it. It's going to come in just one of my BVW silver boxes. It's going to come with watch clearance. It's good on all glass and metal parts, so everything there in the center. You're also going to have some leather conditioner. This is good. This is what I was referencing to keep this leather strap perfectly soft. And I also use that to help me blend that in a bit. A little bit will go a long way, so don't overuse it. Put it on, let it soak in, remove any excess, but just try to not have too much excess. You don't need it. Like I said, just put a tiny bit on there, wipe it, you'll see. And then lastly, some fine scratch remover. This is Novus 2 from Amazon, just repackaged. This is an acrylic glass, and you can scratch it, but if you do, no big deal. Put a tiny bit of this on it and buff against it, filling that scratch using your included microfiber, and buff it out. Should knock it out in 20-30 seconds. Generate some heat with your thumb, and it will solidify it even quicker. But simple fix. And that is your build. I appreciate you a ton, Brian, for thinking of me. And it has taken a minute to get this. There was a few extra parts, a little specialized, that took a minute to get, but Christmas time, I kind of sometimes my guys backburner me just a little bit, unless I have larger orders. So finally got that strap on there, but appreciate your time, man. And if you want me to build you something custom unique, reach out and I'll see what I can do. And if you want to continue to see videos like this, like and subscribe, as I put them up all the time. Thanks, guys.